Hello and welcome to Wow Embossing YouTube channel. My name is Aditi and I'm back with another mixed media off the page project for y'all. Today I am going to be creating an art journal page filled with texture and grunge using Seth Apter's latest Enchanted Alchemy Quad, which comes with gilded patina, amethyst ice, copper dust and prism. These four embossing powders work beautifully together. I am not using all four today, but I'm pairing it with Seth's collection of dies in collaboration with Sizzix as well as his stamps in collaboration with Paper Artsy. To begin with, I have this large die cut element and I've just trimmed it down to cut out two pieces so that I can adhere it to two corners of my art journal page. I am using heavy white gesso to adhere these die cut pieces onto my paper as well as laying out that gesso throughout the page just to prime and prep it. This gives me a nice base for all the mixed media textures. Next up, I am going to be using Lindy sprays. So I have here Alien Goo Green, Drop Dead Gorgeous Diva, Yellow Roses of Texas, and later I'll bringing in some Martian Magenta. Now, how I'm going about this is directly just splattering some of that pigment from the bottle onto my page and using a water mister to move all of that around. Once I have the three colors laid out on my page in this way, it just becomes easy to start adding more color depending on where I need it. Now I am focusing on those two opposite corners, making sure I have enough empty white space. Next I use a paintbrush, pick some of the pigment from the bottle and then go around the die cut elements so that I have the Lindy's magical shimmer and the color moving around those die cut elements at the background of the page, creating nice texture. Once that's dry, partially, I am going to sprinkle the prism embossing powder and tap off any excess and heat set that. So my page isn't completely dry. I still have some of the Lindy's and some of that gesso being wet. And over that, this embossing powder is going to nicely heat set and create that first layer of grunge. Coming in with a pop of contrast, that's Martian Magenta. Again, I'm going to add a few splatters directly from the spray bottle itself. And then I'm going in, misting it with water and using a paintbrush to gently spread that paint around and lifting off any excess with a paper napkin. Next, I'm bringing in the stamps. So I'm using black pigment ink and adding some stamp details to bring a pop of contrast against the white with the black. I'm using multiple stamps here and you can see that all I do is stamp randomly. I am not stamping the complete portion of the stamp, just randomly here and there to add the black grunge and stamp details for my background. So this in itself builds such a beautiful textured looking background. Now for the focal elements, I have some die cuts and the background of these circular die cuts have been colored the same way as the page. I am then using amethyst ice to add embossing detail on top of these circles. Now the first one has this kind of a ring organic circular layer. On the next two, I'm just stamping some with the embossing ink and heat setting that with the same embossing powder so that I have two-tone looking circles and that texture and grunge. For some other elements, I'm coming in with the patina because I think it will go very well with the background colors, the green especially, and it will just complement the whole composition. So embossing those with patina, I am then going to quickly just heat set the embossing powder on all these elements. Now, if you're new to the channel, let me tell you, Wow has this amazing dual heat tool and I use the first heat setting when I'm just drying my paint on paper and the second heat setting when I'm embossing the powder. Now for my sentiment, that's the word imagine itself, I am going to emboss it with prism embossing powder and that just brings that prism from my background right on top on the foreground. So again, sprinkling the embossing powder, I am heat setting that for a nice magical shimmery touch. With that done, all I need to do is put the elements together. So I'm using liquid adhesive, I'm using foam tape just to bring in depth and dimension and I start laying that biggest circle right there in the center, tying the two corners of the page together, and I work around that. Now, some of the other die cut elements that I had cut out, I just cut them out on black cardstock, again tying in with the idea of that contrast that I brought in through black stamping. So it's just building a composition. I'm laying out elements, tucking some underneath one another, bringing some over one another. So it's just, the idea here is to create depth, layers, and dimension. And this is just a nice textured, grungy, detailed fill journal page. Imagine right there on top adds a perfect detail to complete this. I really hope that today's tutorial has inspired you with ideas. You can definitely use these techniques on your card making projects or any other projects that you like. Now, for a finishing touch, I always add some white splatter. And with that, here is a closer look at that detail, the texture, the grunge, and all the layers. I look forward to seeing your creations inspired by this tutorial. And until the next time, take care and bye-bye.